Hey there, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille. Today is, 7th of November 2021. Welcome to video number 311. Today I want to talk about kind of interesting subject of kind of a rule that will help you not to make mistakes and make progress in your life. And especially is important for us guys because whether you like it or not, everything's gonna end up and everyone's gonna end up looking at you. And I talked about it many times that if you are a guy, you know that it's going to happen. So it's especially important for us to be able to deal with reoccurring problems, and especially because we will never feel like men, like guys that are proud of ourselves, if we're not going to be able to be kind of fluent in this. So the rule is very simple. I hope you've got this and you know this, and it's going to be just a reminder for you. But if you don't, there's a rule which basically says that when something happens once, it's a mistake. It just happened. Mistakes are happening and will happen. There's nothing more to it. It's just a mistake. But if it happens once more, if it happens more than once, it means that there's a problem. There's something to it that you need to find out and understand, not to find yourself here again. But there's point number 3, which basically says that if you understand what is the underlying reason and you ended up here anyway, it means that it was premeditated. And there's a different thing you're supposed to do to be able to deal with this and end up somewhere else than here. So let's look at it a little bit closer. Point number 1, which says basically that when something happens, it's a mistake. And many times, especially when something happens, this is kind of situations that we're talking about. Not something benign, something small, and basically the impact is non-existent or negligible. We're talking about situation when something happens and it might have a dire impact on your life. And understanding that something what happened is a mistake and you have to treat it as mistake will help you to understand that sometimes we are just human. And even though it's something terrible, you've got to give someone a shadow of a doubt that they just didn't know or couldn't handle themselves or they couldn't deal with this. And for you to be able to make progress, especially when something terrible, like, I don't know, someone cheated on you. Someone did something really hurtful. When it happens first time, give them this ability or this privilege to treat it as a mistake and help them deal with this. But you see, when something happens again, we've been here before. Why are we here again? It means that there's a bigger problem. Because you see, when something happens and it's a mistake, many times we just didn't know better. But now you do. Because it already happened once and you knew exactly what's going to happen. But you ended up here anyway. So it's supposed to push you to think about, kind of ask yourself a question. What is the reason that even though we knew that we're going to end up here, we are here again? Because you see, sometimes there are deeper reasons, there are deeper whys that are pushing you to do something that ends up with you here, or something that you have to work through and understand and deal with to be able to allow yourself to take a different route. And you see, now you have to do like a troubleshooting. You've got to understand what is really the problem. Many times now, it's not going to be something external, but there's going to be something inside of you, or you as a, let's say, relationship, or marriage, or family, that you need to figure it out. Because you want to be able to proactively see that if something happens, and now I understand that I have issues with this or that, then I would be able to practically see if I want to take the same route as the last time, we're going to end up with the problem. And it's going to be a different story because we've been here before and it hurts again. So that's why I want to find what is the root cause and what is the solution, what is the better way of doing things. So we're going to end up in progress rather than in regress. But you see, sometimes even though we know what is the root cause, it's not just another mistake. It's a situation when we knew that we were going to end up here and we did it anyway, and we're here again. Even though we worked this thing through, we're still in pain. You see, sometimes it's just a matter of doing something because of premeditation. You just wanted to be here. You knew the root cause. You knew the solution to not end up here. But you chose to be here anyway. And now it's a different story. Because let's look at solutions. In general, first thing that should help you deal with all of this is being observant. To allow yourself to see what's going on and what kind of be the solution, what might be an impact or the consequence of your decisions. So that should kind of allow you to kind of omit some of the mistakes that might happen or could happen, but they didn't just because you were smart enough. But when you deal with a mistake, something happened. You had no control, no understanding, no knowledge how to deal with this because it was the first time. You'll need to, first of all, you as a guy, that's very important, own your mistakes. Give yourself permission to say, listen, guys, or even to myself, I tried, but I didn't know what to do. It was an honest mistake. Let us find a solution to the problem or the thing that happened. Let's try to find a way how to get out of this, just because it was an honest mistake. Own your mistakes. You'll be surprised how many people will trust you even more than they trusted, they would trust you even if you would not make a mistake, just because you're trustworthy, because they know he made a mistake. It was tough, it was hard, but he had guts to say, I'm sorry. And you will help how to deal with the mistake just because you said, I did ABC. So they will say, okay, it's obvious, and now we have to do XYZ to fix the problem. And the next time they will trust you even more, so it's going to be much easier to work with you or be with you. Think about it. But the second thing, now when you did something again, we found ourselves in a painful situation, but we knew what's going to happen. It wasn't the first time. We knew what was going to be the impact. Now it's not about forgiveness or basically owning the mistake. Is by finding a root cause solution. And again, I'm going to come back to that because I just reminded myself. Sometimes you'll have to forgive. And it's very important. That's why I'm coming back to this, because sometimes even though someone is going to do to you or you're going to do something really terrible, the impact will be dire. But if it was a mistake, honest mistake, give yourself permission to forgive someone else or forgive yourself. Mistakes are happening and will happen. You're not going to be able to live your life without it. Ask anyone who is mastering anything how many times they make mistakes. Many times they basically refuse to call it a mistake because it's a learning curve. It's unomittable. It's like a part of the learning process to make a mistake, because by this you learn, okay, I cannot do it this way, I'll have to do it that way because the consequence will be not really the one that I want. So own your mistakes and learn to forgive somebody else or yourself. But again, if something happens and we found ourselves here again, the owning a mistake or forgiveness is not enough. Because it happens again, it's happened at least twice now. It means that there's the deeper root cause of the problem. So we'll need to find why it happened and what is the better solution. You'll have to work it. It requires you to go deeper to find what is the problem. Because many times, and you find many of these people who are making the same mistake over and over again, and they are surprised that they are here. It means that they don't learn the lesson. It means that it's not a mistake. There's something deeper inside that they are not, maybe they don't spend enough time to dig through all of this and find what is the real problem. Because many times we think that's the problem, but it's not. There are deeper hidden things that push you to do things a specific way, and that's why you're here. Find what is the problem, find a better solution. So when the situation will come again, you'll know what to do, you'll be prepared, you'll have a plan how to not end up here again. And point number 3, when you see that it's a premeditated thing, someone, even though they knew what's the problem, knew the solution, they decided to get here anyway. And many times you will see that with your kids. Many times you'll see that in a kind of pathological relationships. Because people will do things against the person that they say they love. And you see, in this situation, you'll have to understand, if it was a premeditated thing, if it happened more than twice, we knew what was the problem. Now it's time not to forgive each other. Although you'll have to do it anyway, but it's not enough. It's not enough to kind of dig through this again, because we know what's the problem. Now you have to go toward accountability. Now you have to set up the rules, the boundaries, the kind of rules. What will happen again if we knew what's going to happen, we premeditatively or with a premeditation, we ended up here. If we're going to end up here again, this or that's going to happen. Because by getting us here, you're telling me that you don't care, or even worse, you're malevolent towards me or us. And this is the moment I say no. This is the moment, especially for us guys, that's going to be so important, not to be stupid, not to use this argument of love, which is basically blind. No, love is smart. Love has wisdom that knows that if someone is malevolent or someone is doing something because they just want to see the world burn, quoting the Batman, I don't want to get here, so I will set up rules. If this is going to happen again, I want to keep you accountable. And this or that's going to happen. We're not going to do it anymore. Maybe it's going to be time to split. So you see, this is what I want you to take from this video. You as a guy, especially, you will have to be smart to deal with issues, deal with things that will happen in your life. Because you don't want to end up in pain again and again and again. The progress will happen only then when you'll be able to learn from the lessons from the past and do something differently. Find the solutions, find the protocols to steer how the life goes based on what you've learned from the past. So that's why I understand, if something happens once, it's a mistake. If something happens twice, there's a problem. You're supposed to learn from it and do something about it. And point number 3, sometimes it's just a premeditated thing. You need to do something about it. So in general, be observant and allow yourself to own your mistakes and forgive someone else or yourself. If it happens again, learn what is really the root cause, what is really the problem that we end up here again, and what is the better solution, what is the better way to do things so we'll end up in a better place than here again. And 3, if you see that it's a premeditated thing, keep someone accountable. Draw the line in the sand and set up rules that if this thing is going to happen again, just because you decided to end up here, the things will change. So think about it and do something about it. Because you will never be able not to make mistakes. But progress is a result of you being able to learn from the past. So do it. If you liked this video, like, share, comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what's your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to talk about it for you. And that being said, see you in the next video.